My name is Rebecca Miller, and for the past few years, I have lived in a small suburban town in Ohio with my teenage son, Daniel. Life as a single mother hasn't been easy. I lost my husband, Mark, 5 years ago in a tragic car accident, and from that day forward, everything about our world shifted. Daniel was only 12 at the time, and I had to learn how to juggle being both his mother and father, while also figuring out how to hold myself together in front of him. People often assume the hardest part about being a single mom is the finances or the responsibilities, but for me, it was the quiet moments. Nights felt especially heavy. The house seemed too big, too empty, and sometimes, the silence was so loud it drowned out everything else. Daniel never admitted it, but I knew he struggled too. He missed his dad more than words could ever explain. He had been close to him, football games on weekends, late-night talks, and their little father-son projects in the garage. Losing that left a hole in him. One night, a few months ago, everything changed for us. It was close to midnight when I heard soft knocks at my bedroom door. At first, I thought I had imagined it, because the house was usually so still. But then I heard my son's voice, trembling just slightly. "Mom, are you awake?" I sat up in bed immediately, worried. "Daniel, what's wrong?" When I opened the door, I saw him standing there in his pajamas, looking smaller than his 17 years. His eyes were glassy, and he was clutching something in his hand, an old photo of his dad. Can I sleep here tonight?" he asked softly. It was such a simple question, but the weight behind it made my heart ache. For a moment, I remembered all those times when he was little and would crawl into bed between Mark and me after having nightmares. He hadn't asked to do that in years, but seeing him like this, vulnerable and hurting, I couldn't possibly say no. "Of course, sweetheart," I whispered, moving aside. "Come in." That night, we lay in bed, and he opened up to me in a way he hadn't in so long. He confessed that he'd been having trouble sleeping for weeks, that every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes of his dad's face or relived the day of the accident. He told me he felt angry, confused, and even guilty for moving forward with life when his father couldn't. I held his hand as he spoke, tears streaming down my face, though I tried to hide them. I told him that it was okay to grieve differently, that even though years had passed, missing his dad didn't mean he wasn't strong. It meant he loved deeply. And love, I reminded him, never goes away, it transforms. That yes I gave him that night, the yes to listening, the yes to comforting him, became the start of a new chapter in our relationship. Daniel began to open up more, not just about his grief but about school, friendships, and the quiet fears that had been eating away at him. Weeks turned into months, and our late-night talks became a new tradition. Sometimes he'd knock on my door, sometimes I'd check in on him. We laughed together, cried together, and healed together. Slowly, the walls he had built around his pain started to come down. One memory stands out in particular. It was after one of his football games. He had played his heart out, and though his team lost, he looked up at me in the stands, and for the first time in a long time, he smiled without forcing it. Later that night, he told me, "Mom, I think Dad would have been proud of me." My throat tightened, but I said firmly, "Daniel, your dad is proud of you. And I am too. Always." He hugged me then, and I realized just how much stronger we had both become. Our story isn't about one big dramatic moment, it's about the small choices that build bridges where walls once stood. Saying yes that night wasn't just about letting my son sleep beside me. It was about choosing to be present for him in the hardest moment of his life, about choosing to show him that no matter how much we had lost, we still had each other. Family drama isn't always loud arguments or betrayals. Sometimes, it's the quiet struggle of learning how to heal together. My son taught me that night that grief doesn't have to push us apart, it can also bring us closer if we let it. Today, Daniel is getting ready to graduate high school. He still misses his dad, and so do I, but we've learned that it's okay to carry grief and joy side by side. We keep Mark's memory alive with stories, photos, and even those garage projects that Daniel now tackles on his own. But the most important thing we carry is the bond between us, a bond that grew stronger on a night when my son knocked on my door, and I simply said yes. And that is a story I'll hold close for the rest of my life.